Warning, F-bombs are armed and maybe dropped. Right, so this will be the 24 February premiere. This will be the last of these. Hopefully, this crisis will have passed. For those of you that haven't tuned in for a while, I'm currently on YouTube probation because I said something the last Thursday of January that they don't like. And the problem is, all I said was that a crazy conspiracy theory is completely stupid. Go figure. So, for the month of February, I've been doing these as premieres. That way, well, I mean, there are some things I can do during premieres that I can't do in a live stream. This is actually one of my guns. It's a Keltec Sub 2000. Nice little, they call them pack guns or car carry. This one is normally kept in my car in a very, very clever concealed location. I can get to it without tools to get it out, but I can't really put it back in without using the jack. Really annoying. But I can get it out so easily. Who knew? This is not the clip that I normally have in here. This is a 30 rounder that I only put in when I'm doing a live stream or a video. Actually, the only thing about this gun I don't like is a 40 cal, by the way, Glock mags, clips. Um, it can't use the Glock 27 clips, the regular full length grip. That was the tiniest little oversight that, of course, they probably couldn't have thought of at the time. All things being equal, these are actually really nice and handy and convenient. Um, it would have been more convenient if the grip could fold up, which would be a quote very positive safety, and if the stock could fold up, then it could really compress down. You should be kind of familiar with these guns. Antifa is known to carry them. There's actually photographs and video of an Antifa rally where at least one individual had one of these, and I know it was A, real, and B, what it was, because I have one. And the stupid bitch didn't properly seat the clip. You can see it sticking out just a little bit if if you're familiar with them. That is doing you what good, lady? I mean, I guess it's a very positive safety, except no, it's sort of is. I mean, the clip will fall out of the gun when you try to use it, but hey, I mean, you might get one in. Really stupid. I don't know what to say. This is actually an older G1. The new G2s are like light years ahead of this. All right, enough show and tell. Let's move on. Um, I've said this a few times now. Canada is in what is for Canada a full-fledged civil war. Right. You're not seeing shootings. You're not seeing bombings. You're not seeing IEDs. You're not seeing mass riots in the street. Why are we not seeing any of these in the middle of a civil war? Well, because it's Canada, right? I believe in something I refer to as evolutionary psychology. The people who are uh, able to breed, and therefore perpetuate a species, are the sort of people who are built around the environment into which they exist. Canada is cold. I mean cold, cold. I was stationed in Michigan back in 1999 until 2001. Uh, we didn't have it quite as bad as Canada, and we had it pretty good, right? We could have snowdrifts as deep as 3 feet. I remember watching Viva Free live streaming from Ottawa and wondering, how is he getting around? Right? It is cold, the snow is deep. This is a real rough environment to try to be outside. You get used to being inside for hours and days on end. And if you can't psychologically handle being in that environment, you will not breed. Do not confuse Canadians' uh, basically genetic niceness with some sort of weakness. That would be a very serious mistake. Part of that same evolutionary psychology is anything that comes in here and is a threat to our collective or individual existence, we will all kill it. We will all destroy it. We will turn that bear that came busting in our front door into meals for a month and clothes for literally everybody in the family. And they will do it smiling the whole time. The flip side of that is if I'm the one that becomes the threat to the collective and individual, I'm going to end up, well, dead and possibly as bits and pieces of clothing if I'm really, really not lucky, or if I'm really, really hated. And that's just the way Canada is. And they will do it with a smile on their face. And that is Canadian. Right now, the Canadians are hearing the proverbial bear out in the outside the cabin, right? Justin Trudeau is the bear of this analogy. And he's been poking at the cabin, and they had enough of him uh, starting the end of last month, the first week of February. They decided they really weren't happy and they were going to let him know, hey, get away from my cabin. That was the Ottawa rallies. Well, the bear didn't take the hint. Now he's trying to pick away at the house, the cabin, to get inside. Right now, he has actually ordered that the trucks in Ottawa be confiscated, quite illegally, I might add. He has gotten the Canadian Parliament to sign off on his Emergency Act mandates that are completely illegal. There's absolutely nothing in Canadian law that allows him to do any of the things except the Emergency Powers Act, which basically tells him he can do anything he wants now. He can call the U.S. military. He can call Joe Biden up and say, hey, um, I need 100,000 soldiers up here. Can you give them to me? I would hope that Joe Biden, despite everything else, has enough sense to understand, no, I can't do that. Unfortunately, I'm not convinced he does. But we'll see what happens there. Moving right along. The only thing that gives him the authority to do any of the above is the Emergency Powers Act. And he's flagrantly abusing it. He's doing things with that act that it was never, ever intended, uh, conceived, envisioned, anything to be used for. The Emergency Powers Act was to address terrorism, specifically a year of kidnappings and murders and bombings and bank robberies. Weirdly enough, bank robberies to fund the effort back in the 1977, 1970s anyway. Actual violence. Let me tell you, during Ottawa's protests, there were 6 incidents of violence that I've become aware of. 6. And this is not from the pro trucker side either. This is very much from the anti trucker side. One was an absolute beatdown, and no question or doubt about it in my mind. A man showed up to one of the rallies with a Nazi flag. Right. Excuse me a moment while I roll my eyes so hard they get stuck in the back of my head, and I have to go see an ophthalmologist to have them straightened out. But that's not all. No, no. They asked him to leave, and then they told him to leave, and then they threatened him. Okay, right. When a Canadian threatens you, that's a pretty strong sign. That's when he initially left, but then apparently he came back half an hour later. Well, when you're told to leave a place that you don't actually have a right to be at, leave and don't come back. Right? This is not the first time I would have told this story. This one was particularly bad. He came back. They didn't even wait for him to finish saying hello. And it appears to be the same guy. Not somebody else came later, as apparently other 98% is trying to claim. No, no, no. It's the same guy. It's exact same clothing, exact same height, exact same face mask. He came back, and they absolutely tore into him like rabid dogs. They tore into him. I've actually seen the man's name. He was released from the hospital 3 days later. Um, yeah, the bear got the bear was asked to leave once and didn't, and he came back. Well, he asked to leave, and then he came back. Well, now you're threatening our family, our Canadian family. They don't play games. They may be nice, they may be kind, they may be sweet, wonderful people, but oh, don't make them mad. In a way, they kind of remind me of my younger brother. He's calm and calm and calm, and then he pulls a kukri on you. That's my younger brother. Don't try stupid shit like that. And you won't, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He ended up in the hospital. Good for him. He deserved it. Especially that flag. God damn. I'm going to let that part go. Right. He got what he deserved. I'm not crying for, I'm not going to cry for somebody who's not the victim. I'm going to cry for the victim. right? The next one was, or next two apparently, were actually nothing to do with the rally itself. It's apparently drug related. A drug dealer and a junkie got into a beef, or a couple of drug dealers and a couple of junkies got into beefs. Knife apparently was pulled in one of them, and they happened to be in the vicinity, right at the edge of the rally. The rally may have had some sort of influence here. From what I'm kind of sort of gathering, is that one of the two incidents, I'm not sure which one is which. I'm not sure which one the knife was pulled on. I'm not sure which one was the one where the rally may have spooked the dealer, and apparently he gives some sort of wave off, like come back later. Yeah, no, this guy wanted his drugs. He wanted it now. He was going to get them one way or the other. All right, that's half of them right there. Two of them, I don't know anything about. I know less than nothing, but one of them was caught on film, and it was quite clearly a counter protester who came down there looking for violence. He wanted to kick somebody's ass. Well, he found what he was looking for. He found the violence. Well, he brought the violence and may have gotten the worst of it, although he may have given a pretty good dish of it as himself. So, okay, right. You came down there looking to beat somebody, you beat somebody, and then you got the shit beat out of you too. Good for you. What'd you win? That's it. In 3 weeks, there was only a half dozen violent confrontations. Think about that, right? An American rally of any kind of contentious nature, political, sports, fill in the blank, you will have that many at an individual 3 hour event, 4 hour event, whatever. We just, we're crazy. What do you want me to say? Americans are just a little bit more liable to start throwing right from the go. Now, the Canadians had a 3 week rally with an average of 2 incidents per every 7 day period. That's shit. That's great. You'll have a dozen or more individual fights going on during a French march at any given time. You'll have a couple cars burning at any given time. I guess the French are just a little bit more violent than Americans. Maybe being French should be considered an automatic mandatory exemption. Just throwing that one out there. Versus Canadians clearly have the self restraint, the genetic, or the evolutionary psychology to carry a gun easily. Maybe a little too much restraint. We'll come back to that some other time. Where's the violence, Justin? No bombings. There were no fires. But, well, there was a couple of trash fires. These appear to have been cigarette butts thrown into overloaded trash cans. Um, okay, that's also known as an accident as opposed to buildings being burned to the ground. Let me tell you how violent the Canadian uh, rallies really were. There were people picking up trash. Oh my God, the horror The trash was getting picked up. Nobody asked. They just started doing it because, well, trash falling out of the can. We better put it in there. There's actually video of one woman who her intentions were obviously very, very good. Her planning may have needed a lot more work. This trash can was obviously completely overloaded. She went and got a broom or a stick or something, was trying to pack the trash down harder so she could put more trash in there. Well, yeah, that can was already over its limits, and now you're trying to put more in. Um, your intentions are good, lady. All right. You may not have thought this one through all the way. I'm just saying. Maybe it's time to empty the can, have somebody come down and empty the can, right? But at least it was that was her violence to beat the trash down with a stick. Right. That's a terribly, terribly violent person right there. Let me tell you. Tell you the other violence. The Ambassador, I believe it is, bridge. Yeah, they closed it. So what? Like, it's just so what? So they closed a bridge. Oh, this is 25% of the traffic from commercial traffic from Canada to the United States. So what? There's a dozen other bridges they could have taken. Tell me something important. Within a half an hour drive, I guarantee you there's at least two other bridges. You have to go way the fuck out to Michigan to finally get to a spot where you can actually effectively close a bridge, and that's the Mackinac Bridge. So, again, so what? They closed a bridge. Good. Better to close a bridge than to blow up a sitting member of Parliament's car, which is what happened back in the 70s. That's what this law was for. Not for closing a bridge and embarrassing the Prime Minister. Not for honking for 10 hours a day. I think it's 10 hours a day. Roughly 10 hours. Let's call it 12. Fuck it. 8 to 8. Right? That's not violence. That's obnoxious. That's annoying. Hell, I don't even live in Ottawa. I was kind of annoyed by it. I for the people that lived in Ottawa, I get it. That it would really, really annoy the shit out of me listening to those horns for 12 hours a day. It's still not violence. I don't care how you cut it. That's not violence. And by the way, they were not closing streets in Ottawa. They were making a point of it to always keep one lane open, no matter what, to prevent the roads from being closed so that at bare minimum, emergency vehicles could get through. When Justin decided that he'd had enough with this, these serfs refusing to till the fields, he ordered the tow trucks to start hauling the trucks away. Well, tow truck operators suddenly had a gray flu. It's like a blue flu, only for truck drivers, uh, uh, tow truck operators, and other working people. Because you can't call it a blue flu, blue collar flu. That sounds too much like a blue flu. So I went with gray. So fuck you. All right, or fuck me. I don't care. Both. Hell. All right. So all of a sudden, there's this big gray flu of tow truck operators. Um, Canadian police swooped in. really, really hard. And first of all, they did the horrible, horrible thing. It is now a meme. It is a political cartoon. It is a terrible, disgusting video to watch. I won't make you. A horse did, in fact, trample at least one protester. And I mean very brazenly and blatantly trampled him. When I say him, the one I saw, I could only see one person getting trampled. It's been said that a guy jumped in to try to protect the woman who was trampled first. She's been pointed out to me. Viva Free did it. Um, he said she's the one in red. I saw the one in the gray, bluish gray jacket getting trampled. Right. That's what I saw. That's all I saw, and I'm going to stick to that. To what I know is what I know I can verify. Um, I can't tell you they didn't trample the woman in the red jacket. That would be a lie. Every fucking buddy in the world is saying they they did. I missed it. Okay, that's my bad. Um, it is what it is. The it doesn't even stop there. The next day, I heard this crazy, insane, cannot possibly be true story that an RCMP officer said in a text chat, um, that was awesome. We should study it for next year, or something to that. The word awesome in particular came up. I know cops well enough to know, yeah, they will talk like that when they think nobody can hear it. Oh, military is just as bad, so, it is what it is. Always in cash and never in writing, as Bob Barnes so often says. Well, this was in writing. There's no way they put that in writing. Apparently, yes, they did because RCMP confirmed that they're investigating it themselves. Always in cash, never in writing, bro. Did you not get that lesson? But moving right along, that happened. That was all of the rest of the violence. It was literally brought by the police at the order of Justin Trudeau. And the order of Justin Trudeau alone, Emergency Powers Act, had not been approved by Parliament at this point. Well, Justin, you wanted violence and now you caused it. History will look back on you and they are going to say things, historians, my successors, are going to say things about you that you will not like to hear. Your children will change their name to try to escape the infamy that is you. Congratulations. Congratulations, Justin. Um, right, I've been on that for about 30 minutes. So I better move along. What's going to happen next? Well, I predict there's going to be about a week or so of nothing. Everybody's just waiting to see what happens next. And then the trucks are going to start getting sold, and truck drivers, in particular, are going to be very upset. I predict at least 75% of Canada's truck drivers are going to go on strike. There'll be two ways to get them back to work. One is to put them in jail until they agree to go back, and the other is to hire unlicensed truck drivers or non-union or independent drivers who are then going to get a lot of pressure from other truck drivers to stop, to quit. Is it going to get to violence? Probably not. I really don't see it going there. I do see it going not very fucking well for the drivers who do break those lines. They come into a truck stop and the lady behind the counter says, "Can I help you?" Yes, I'd like to get some fuel. We're out of fuel. Because she knows this guy's not a legit driver. That'll lead to an escalation. Drivers will start being arrested. That'll lead to another escalation that the military will be brought in to restore order. And of course, Justin's going to say it's rebellion, it's insurrection, it's this, it's that, it's something else. And Parliament may very well sign off on it, but those parliamentarians are going to start looking over their own shoulder because they created the problem. Nobody told them to do that. Nobody asked them to do that. They did it on their own. Congratulations, you created your civil war. Oh, yeah, I hope you're happy. I really do. And it'll just keep getting worse from there until one way or another, Justin Trudeau is gone. Justin, I really recommend you take as much cash out as you can right now, even if it's not actually your money, and flee to Iceland. You'll be a lot safer there. You won't be safe there, but at least it'll buy you some time. All right, enough about Canada. There's a subject I meant to go over last week. The ghosts of Vince Foster. For those of you that don't know, you're not old enough to remember. Um, Very early on during Bill Clinton's first term, one of his aides, a man named Vince Foster, committed suicide. Not gonna play. I sincerely believe that Vince Foster did in fact take his own life. I do. I know there's crazy conspiracy theories, and no, he's not the guy that shot himself twice in the head. He shot himself once in the head. Um, I sincerely believe that he committed suicide, and in his suicide note, he said something about, "Oh, who have I surrounded myself with? What have I gotten myself into?" It was clear that he had discovered something in the circle that he had allowed himself to fall into. Oh, excuse me, that was not right. And in fact, couldn't be any less right. And the only way he saw out for himself was to take his own life. Well, that must be something very powerful indeed. There must have been something that scared him so badly he did not believe he could outrun it. What would that have been? Well, I have my own theory. And now we're starting to see the ghosts of Vince Foster coming back over and over and over again. Some frog recently hung himself while in custody when the cameras just happened to go out. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. just going to say, maybe he didn't kill himself, but it appears that he did. Yet another person who was in a position to be pressured to tell the truth has suddenly ended up dead. I'm just saying. I believe that Vince Foster not only knew what was going on, but he was grappling with the real ramifications to his probably family if he came out and said what he knew. For those of you that are going to think of a pizzeria, no, no, the pizzeria thing was drugs. It was just drugs, right? Um, the underlying allegation of the pizzeria thing, no, it wasn't just children, right? Children, it was adults, it was whatever. I'm talking about the slave trade, all right? The real slave trade does exist. Um, there's a particular elected official in the United States who was basically the entire U.S. slave trade company president. She controlled 90% of the slave trade in the United States and possibly Canada. Um, Never selling an American to an American, selling an American to China, in China, Russia, um, parts of the Middle East, no problem. And those were typically drug addicts, right? They become addicted to the drugs. You string them along with free drugs until you can sell them, and then they go away. They're not a problem anymore. Outside the United States, about 50% actually comes from Asia and Asia Minor. That's where they come from. Um, and also, drugs is sometimes a factor. String them out on drugs and then haul them to the U.S. and drop them off there. I, unfortunately or unfortunately, I know somebody that survived that system is not a drug addict. Never a drug addict. Just saying. No, she was just loaded up onto a bus and, well, told, you're getting on the bus, loaded up on the bus, driven down to Pakistan, put on a boat, and sent to the US. Sold for about $50. And sometimes that's also the way it works. Um, I believe Vince Foster knew what he'd gotten into, and the only way to get out of it without endangering his entire family was the method he chose. Now we're seeing more of the people that are kind of in that little weird world who are going that route. The system is not collapsing. It's just the weaker uh, stones caving in pretty quickly. But those weak stones are being replaced just as quickly, or more quickly in some cases. All right. So enough about that. I usually do something from the get home bag, and I'm going to do a larger category of thing: foul weather gear. Um, have warm clothing that is available and can be easily doffed and donned and doffed, put on and taken off as needed in case you find yourself out overnight under circumstances you hadn't necessarily anticipated. It happens, right? I almost got caught out overnight one weekend while I was at Papa Carey's. Saturday morning, I went into town. Fire broke out. The road back to Dad's place was closed and remained closed until almost 2300 when they finally, finally were able to reopen the road. Now, this is the middle of summer, so my real problem would have been overheating. Um, Fortunately for me, in that particular circumstance, I was able to turn around, go back into town, went to Subway, um, I went to Mike's eventually, a couple other places, went to Walmart, did a lot of shopping on Papa Carey's dime, by the way. Dad told me what to buy. Actually, flag on the play. I bought the stuff on my money, but then Monday he transferred that plus a little bit of change to my account. So thanks, Dad. And by the way, Dad got his part of that shopping list. So um, Dad basically gave me about $150 worth of survival gear, camping gear really. Um, but yeah, that sort of thing. And you might be caught in your car overnight or in a uh, old abandoned building overnight or a million other places that are legitimately cold. Be ready for that. You will die much faster from freezing to death than you will from overheat and heat exhaustion. Now, I'm going to play. It takes longer to go from inert to deathly overheated than it does to go from inert to freezing. You'll die just as quickly once you get to that point, with the overheating at least. It's also much easier to treat the overheating. Just get into shade, if appropriate, drink the water, cool down, cool down, cool down as best as you can. Very least, just stop. You'll be fine. You won't be fine. That's an overstatement. Just stop. Stop exerting. You won't build up the heat. You may be able to pump some of it off. The cold, you can't shed that cold as quickly. It takes hours to warm back up. It's as simple as that. Have the warm clothing available, even if it's just an extra set of sweats. Have the warm clothing available, but more importantly, have the dry stuff available, the raincoats and stuff, because water will cool you 7 times as fast as air. Keep that water off of you, you're 100% better. A simple poncho, as much as they sometimes suck, they almost always suck, will help you stay dry. Get under a bridge, uh, whatever you got to do, just stay dry. Okay. Um, Bellwether gear cannot be overstated on the subject of overheating. And I'm saying this with literally one particular name in mind. Ladies, you may not like it. You may not like running around basically half naked. Um, Carry a bikini top in your bag just in case it's too hot for the warm gear or even basic clothing. Take off your shirt, take off your bra, put the bikini top on, put your shirt and your other gear into the bag. Now, obviously, find a um, discreet place to make the change. Also, with a little bit of luck, dressed like that and having a backpack, you're going to look weird. Don't use that backpack. Not for this. You're going to look kind of weird, but people might just assume that you were headed home or that you were at the pool or the lake or the river, or wherever the hell it was you were when this thing started. They might just ignore you. They might just move on and go fight with cops like they wanted to, or move on and go loot houses like they wanted to. Hardware stores, more likely, jewelry stores, and gas station convenience stores. They're looking to steal the booze and the cigarettes. Never steal booze and cigarettes. But anyway, um, they might just ignore you because, oh, she was at the pool. She's not a threat to anybody. I'm just saying that's a. And if they still decide to threaten you, well, I mean, you're following mandatory carry. What do you think I'm going to say next? Say hello, how are you, and how's it going? Actually, I would say to say that. I also say if they really do threaten you, just shoot them. Just shoot them. All right. And for a reading, Section 11, Supplemental Provisions. The states may establish reasonable standards generally relative to the standards of the other states in the establishment of concealed carry permits. No other acts or ordinances may be passed. Mandatory concealed carry permit requirements are hereby expressly forbidden. No regulation relative to location, security, or any other conditions of any lawful firearms or other weapons retailers may be passed. Sales, property, and other taxes may in no way exceed any other industry. Municipalities and counties may, at their discretion, waive property taxes in whole or in part for such retailers. States may, at their discretion, waive sales tax in whole or in part. No state, nor city, nor county, nor the federal government may impose any tax nor any other dues on any firearm not related, uh, excuse me, any firearm nor related materials in excess of other products the same price per unit, and munitions are hereby expressly forbidden to be taxed in any way, shape, or form. Wow, that's a big one, huh? All right, the states can set concealed carry laws. They have to be reasonable. They have to be relative to the standards of the other states, um, and they can't be mandatory concealed carry. Open carry is hereby express implicitly legal in all 50 states. No state can uh, pass a law that says you can't open carry. That's a big fuck you to California and New York. I'm not even gonna lie. It was specifically intended for them. I remember when California was an open carry state, I open carried. California is not an open carry state anymore. Um, and people like Brent actually kind of helped that along, and that's unfortunate. Um, but then again, brazenly abusive governors uh, made sure it was going to happen one way or the other. And it is as simple as that. No other acts or ordinances may be passed. The states retain the authority to set concealed carry permit requirements. Period. That's it. That's all they get. They have abused their other powers to the point where it's not even it can't be fixed, so it's not worth trying. So fuck them. They don't get anything now. How about that? Question came up about a month ago. Oh, was that January live stream? How do you feel about the San Jose situation? Yeah, that would be illegal, and it should be. What San Jose did was absolutely illegal. It should be fought in court. I wish I lived in San Jose so I could um, have standing to fight it. Flag on the play. There's a second reason for this. What we currently have is this absolutely cacophony of contradictory, conflictory, exactly oppositional laws, where what's required in one state is illegal in another. 3 feet of distance, you go from absolutely law abiding citizen to felon. This is also a reflection of the Sheehan Allen case, where she was on the freeway, she had her concealed carry permit, she thought she was doing everything right. She'd crossed into New Jersey from New York. Now, I'll address that the Sheehan Allen situation a little bit further later on. But yeah, she thought she was doing everything right because this was the law back in New York, where she came from, while she was on the interstate that's federal property. Um, San Francisco, in particular, on the subject of location, security, or other conditions, passed a city ordinance that required cameras in gun shops 24/7. Nope, they're gone. Bye. There's a little bit about tax issues. This cities, counties, and states may waive property and sales tax at gun shops because, well, that would be a very nice thing for you to do, considering these people are required by law to have weapons. How do you then justify taxing them? Some other tax related issues is no, you can't actually have a special sale tax just for guns. No, that's not going to work. And it specifically prohibits, and I want to read it exactly as it says. Okay. No state nor county, nor city nor county, nor the federal government may impose any tax nor other dues on any firearm nor related materials in excess of other products in the same price per unit, and munitions are hereby expressly forbidden to be taxed in any way, shape, or form. Done. That's it. That's all it says. They cannot be taxed in any way, shape, or form. You can't have a rental fees. You can't this, you can't that. You can't have anything if it's in any way, shape, or form a tax. No fees, no um, forms, nothing. And if I have to go back and clarify that later on, well, I guess I will. Nothing. That's it. Can't do it. That's the first paragraph. In the event of a challenge to a state's concealed carry permit requirements, courts are to assume the state more likely to in error unless overwhelming evidence to the contrary can be presented, and in either case, fees and other requirements may not exceed the ability of persons in any social status, tax bracket, or other category to reasonably achieve in the course of a standard year. Year's a long time, California. I'm just singling you out because it's true. And New York, you too. Um, uh, this is if somebody says, "Well, Your Honor, it's unreasonable for the state to X in the course of concealed carry permit requirements," state of better come up with one hell of a reason. It's unreasonable for the state to take a photograph of me for my concealed carry permit. Well, um, okay, state of California. Why do you need to take his? Well, so we can identify him. Okay. Um, what's the number on his concealed carry permit? Well, it's his driver's license number. Okay, so his driver's license should be good enough, right? On the other hand, somebody's saying, Your Honor, it's unreasonable for me to have to sit through an 8-hour class to learn self-defense laws in my state. Well, 8 hours is a long time, I concede. If that's how long it actually takes, then that's how long it actually takes. And you might really want to go to the state legislature and say, why are self defense laws so complicated that it takes 8 hours to learn it? I'm just saying. Well, 1 year is a long time, so that could be a pretty high fee. But you can save up the money in a year. You can get your concealed carry permit. All right, next paragraph. May issue and good cause ordinances are hereby expressly forbade. Concealed carry permits may only be denied for due cause, and such permits shall be processed within 14 days. Any such request not processed within said time frame shall be conditionally approved, and any permit not processed in 30 days shall be unconditionally approved. Now, this is actually addressed in an earlier segment, and I believe it's 15 days there. The state of fill in the blank has to say you cannot have a concealed carry permit, and this is the very real reason why we're ready to go to court and fight this. If you carry concealed during that time frame, you belong in prison. Okay, but they better be ready to fight that. Basically, if they're not ready to put you in prison for the possession of a firearm, or lock you up somehow, or otherwise seriously punish you, probably not going to fly. May issue and good cause are the entire reason for this section. Counties that go with the may issue standard, denying people their concealed carry permits because, well, I, sheriff, didn't feel your need was good enough. Well, fuck you. Right? You don't know my life. You really don't. This is all about one sheriff in particular. Um, California sheriff. San Diego? I believe it was the San Diego County Sheriff. All right. The federal government may not impose new restrictions on any weapon or part thereof not already established as law, to wit, the regulation of firearms as provided under this amendment. All firearms may be required to be registered except those that are built by the original owner. Okay. What this says is it doesn't matter what the future holds. It doesn't matter what future technologies are. It's not here. It's not somewhere in this 9-page amendment. It's not going to fly. You don't get it. That's it. As simple as that. Um, and that um, you do have to register the guns you buy. Registration leads to confiscation unless you are legally required to have it to begin with. Then it's not possible to confiscate that many guns, first of all. Second of all, um, your registration would actually be proof that you are obeying the law in case you do go out for beer, 6-pack of beer, and some cookies one night, and the Chevron across the street is closed. So you have to go up to Kmart, which is about a half a mile away, and you got stopped by a cop, and you know, you're right. I left my gun at home. Oops. And this is the fourth time you've done that this week? What? Well, I was at work the other 3 times. Well, here's your summons to appear. Bring your registration with you. Uh, Home built guns are exempt because there's actually no way to serialize those. Right. It's not a legal serial number. I don't even know what California thought they were doing there. But I submit to you that the California uh, 80% serialized law is actually illegal. I don't know what they were thinking. Oh, right. This next one is particularly obnoxious to some people, and I don't care. Every home shall have at least one long arm compatible with Department of Defense standardized infantry rifle munitions and magazines, and 2 such magazines, a minimum of 30 round capacity and 91 rounds. So right now, the standard is 5.56. I think within 10 years, 5.56 is just going to go away and be replaced with something else. I've speculated on this in the past. Maybe they'll go back to 7.62. Maybe they'll move to one of the 6.5 or 6.8 variants. Maybe they'll go back to 30 cal, and maybe they'll go all the way to 50 cal. I don't know. I know everybody who says, I do know, is probably lying to you. Um, you have to have one long arm compatible with the standard munition. Like I said, right now it's 5.56, two 30 round clips, and 91 rounds. That means you can fill both of the 2 clips, fill one of them one more time, and have a chamber carry ready to go. Temporary transfers. Any person may temporarily transfer to any other person any weapon for up to 30 days with a signed and dated receipt attesting to the date of transfer. Said transfer may be revoked at any time by the rightful owner without explanation nor cause. You loan somebody your gun because they want to try it out. Believe it or not, in California, that's illegal right now. That is a felony. I can't go back to Papa Carey's with my Glock 22. Say, Dad, try this. Just to shut me up. Try this. Because we'd both be felons. Me for giving it to him for using it, even if it was at the range. This law was intended to shut down California gun ranges. Well, it wasn't intended to address straw purchase. It was intended to shut down gun ranges, and it's apparently proven effective there. Um, Also leaves a big fat thing that says, "Yeah," and when it's clear, Dad's trying out my gun, and it's clear he's not handling it very well. Okay, yeah, get it. Thanks. Okay. Or maybe it's that, I loaned my older brother, the one that passed away, um, my gun, and he's saying things on Facebook I'm not liking. He said some things on Facebook I was not liking. I think maybe I should go get my gun back from him. I think maybe it was a mistake to loan him my gun. Um, I don't have to have an explanation. I don't have to have cause. All I have to do is walk up to him and say, "Big bro, I want George back." And he would have to return it, or he is now the felon. Okay, that is the end of Dataslav as it exists now. If you've heard something that you think needs to be addressed, please do so in the chat, in the comments, and something else. Um, Let me know. There might be something I've missed. Hell, this is temporary transfers exemption. That's something somebody brought up. Um, Papa Carey brought up a couple things. Vix Bayonets brought something up. The conscientious objector exemption. Yeah, that was all her. I would never have touched it, but she actually pushed the issue. Um, the reason I didn't want to touch conscientious objectors, how do you define it? And to be perfectly blunt, how do you stop people from selling their signature for $50 and claim, yeah, oh yes, uh, James Rump is an old member of my congregation, and we practice Abhimsa, and yes, we're conscientious objectors. Hey, James, give me $50. I'll sign it for you. There will always be that sort of person. There will always be somebody who is looking for the scam, the angle, the whatever it takes to get that money in their pocket, right? That person will always exist. And there's nothing I can do to stop that. There are ways to mitigate it. There are ways to address it. Um, I would remind everybody that whoever signed your affidavit, if you're going for that conscientious objectorship, they're signing that under oath, right? That means they can go to prison if we catch them lying. It's as simple as that. Oh, and lose their house and everything else. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But it'd be a great way to felony out. Be about the only way to felony out. Oh, excuse me. Hmm. Um, so yes, if you think of something, even if it's been addressed, just go ahead and say it anyway. All right. You may have missed it, in which case, just give me a chance to tell you, oh yes, we addressed that. Here's how we addressed it. And then you say, wait a second, no, that doesn't sound right. This there's something else wrong here. Um, I know there's at least one. Something because I bounce almost everything off of Papa Carey from at one point, I'm trying to think of a good example, and I really can't off the top of my head. Yeah, I really can't off the top of my head. But almost everything goes through Papa Carey at one point or another. And he has found things, small things, uh, that had to get addressed. Sooner or later, they always do. And I know I'm not perfect. I know there's things in here that need to be addressed, and I don't always know what they are. It's as simple as that. All right. I'm going for an hour and 10 minutes now. Cool. Again, this is going to be the last of the premieres. Hopefully, the YouTube Gestapo are sufficiently mollified and want to reiterate. All I did was say a crazy conspiracy theory cannot be true. A particular one cannot be true. I didn't even really tell you what the conspiracy was about. All I did was say it's a conspiracy, and no, it's not possible. It's scientifically impossible to be true. Whatever. So, until next week, when the live morning and afternoon lives should be starting up again, keep calm and mandatory carry on.